for your admin center. So that's one thing to take note of. And next thing is under services. Yep, still under services. Check for Microsoft 365 groups. Yeah. So there should also be guests. Yeah. Okay. So you see, so you can actually turn on the first one on Microsoft Teams. Okay, you're allowing guests into your admin center on Microsoft Teams. But if you don't turn on the Microsoft 365 groups, you can't still add them to a group or a team. Okay. All right. So you just need to make sure let guest group members, let guest group access group content. Okay. So sometimes these are actually multiple issues customers, clients, and individuals face differently. As simple as they look, people actually face these issues where you can't actually access so many things as a guest in a tenant because of Microsoft Teams is turned off, like I showed you the first one, and this one is turned off. So out of that, all right, yeah, actually guest access is a bit different from external access. Okay, it's actually two things, but at the same time, they're actually working differently. So external access actually has limitation. Guest access also has its own limitations. So guests, as it implies, actually has more access to the tenants than the external individual. Okay, external access, you can actually do more of that in the Azure Admin Center. I'm actually trying to show you some things before going into Azure Admin Center. Do I have it here? Shoot. Let me go to Teams Admin Center and see if I can link it up from there. So as I said, yeah, there's a difference between external access and guest access. External access is a feature that allows users to find, call, or chat with people. I'm giving you my definition. A feature that allows users to find, call, and chat with people who have Microsoft identities, including those from other organizations. So if you have a personal account and you get to pick, maybe your friend is in another company and the person has a Teams account, you can just copy the person, ask the person, what's your email address on Teams? And the person gives you, what's your Microsoft 365 email address? And the person gives it to you. You copy it and you take it to your Teams and you place it in your Teams app. So if you place it in chat here, you don't place it here. You place it in here. You don't place it in here. This is just searching. This is for a new chat. So you place it in here and you start chatting. So if I want to chat with Emmanuel, I'll just copy his email, paste it here. If his external collaboration is enabled, I can do it from here. All right. So that is for external access. Then, but for guest access is a feature that allows you to invite people from outside your organization to join a team. Guests can also call, chat, and meet, just like external, with people in your organization, and you can share files and folders with them. Okay. All right. So external access doesn't need an invite, but guest access actually need an invite. External access just needs you to turn on a feature. Uh, that's it. Hold on a minute. Let me see. I think my license is having issues with that. I'm actually trying to get into Azure Admin Center right now. Emmanuel, can you help me with the Azure Admin Center email address?
That is identity. Intra dot
Identity.
identity. Yeah. Go back to your admin center, Office 365 admin center. It should be there.
They've changed it to identity.
Yes. To
All
be
right,
intra
very
dot.
dynamic. They keep giving us reasons to read every day. All right, so guest actually needs, like I said, guest actually needs an invite, while uh an external user doesn't need an invite. Okay, so if you're actually playing with external identities here. Come in here. You do an overview. External collaboration. So this is what majorly controls external access. It controls some major parts of guest access, but it's actually more of external access. Okay, and external access is quite important because even if your tenant actually has federation, is federated and it's actually okay, it has an open federation. Open federation means there are two types of federation: open federation and closed federation. Open federation is when your tenant is open to communicate with all tenants. They don't have a list. They don't have a blocked list or an allowed list. That's open federation. Closed federation means you have a list. So if I say my company now wants to, or Google, I want to communicate with someone in Google, and Google has a closed federation. And so if I want to communicate with someone with Google, they need to add my tenants or my email address into and their tenant. So add my domain, permit my domain into their list of allowed lists. So once they do that, then you're actually in their closed list, meaning you can actually communicate with someone there. That's a step also. So their open federation, they don't need to do anything. Once you just get the person's email, like I told you about getting Emmanuel's email, I'll just get Emmanuel's email and I'll just go straight and paste it, communicate with Emmanuel. I won't get any restriction. Okay, so I want to do a quick one here. Yeah. Okay, let me say I'm trying to communicate with somebody in this organization. Let me see. Okay, so see this. Some people in your chat are outside the organization. It's possible they might message you. All right, so when you get this, when you're trying to chat someone with this, let me say I'm trying to chat someone in another organization that has a close federation, and I'm trying to do that. I check for the person, and I'm saying this. Once I'm saying this, it's one of two things. It's either the close federation is from my end or it's from the user's end. So if I'm very sure of my tenant and I know I have an open federation, I don't have any list of blocked people or allowed people, automatically I know it's from this user's end. So I would just say, hey, why don't you reach out to your IT guy, or are you your IT guy? Can you allow my tenants to communicate with your tenant so we can actually chat and go on with this? So if the user does, then you're good to go. So I send this to deliver. Yes, this is actually sometimes if it's not allowed, it will actually give you an error. It won't go. It will just show this. It won't go. I'm looking for something that won't go. I think I should have a user that won't go. So let me look for a user that won't go. Okay, let me see if this user will go. Okay, I think this one went to. All right, so close federation generally, what I'm just trying to pull out is close federation actually gives you an error. Underneath here, you see an error. It won't click this, it won't do this send. It actually show you an error. Error in sending message. It reverts back like it did not send you. But this one is just showing you that hey, there's a federation somewhere. Maybe you're allowed, but you're not allowed. We're just telling you there's a federation somewhere. All right. So that is back to this point here, external collaboration. This is, we used to call this Azure Active Directory, but it's now called the Entra Admin Center, which is Identity Admin Center. All right, so guest access, under guest access in this point, this is where you actually decide to know what you want to limit and what you want. So like it's straight to the point here, you get to know guest users have same access as members. You get to choose whatever you want, whatever way you want it. So please kindly note that external access and guest access is in Teams is actually different from external and guest access in SharePoint. It's also different from external and guest access in Outlook. Though some of them are actually interwoven, but If at any point external access for your organization is turned off in SharePoint and you add the person to a team, the person might not still be able to access files. The person might be able to chat in the group, but not be able to access files. So you need to make sure as an admin, make sure external access is turned on all points before the guest can actually use all the facilities you want them to use. Yes, it's getting teams turned on is cool. Yeah, they can share file, but there will be files they won't be able to access if those files actually have limitations on them. They won't be able to access those files. So allow users to remove themselves from your organization. Recommended. Okay, so it, by default it's always turned on. But if you are somebody that you don't want any guest access, guest person to actually leave your organization, like it's a prison, you are here, you can actually turn it off and do that. So let's get to this point where we do how. In a minute, yeah. For guests, how you invite guests, how you invite an external user. Okay, you click here. So you straight to the point. Yeah, just put the person's email. Give it a display name. You can if you want to. If you don't want to, you leave it. Okay, give it a display name. Okay, send the right message. Yeah. Okay, you can add the co-recipient if you want to, somebody that will confirm. Maybe you have a team in your company and you have that same team in another company and you guys are sister companies and you guys are collaborating on something. So you want to copy the manager of that team in that company so that they know that you've invited the person you're supposed to invite into your tenants. Okay, so next, okay, check if you want to add anything, you want to give them more properties and all, check assignments, you want to add them to a group, you can actually add them to a group directly. Just add it to a group directly. Uh, all Microsoft 365 groups, all Microsoft 365 teams channels actually have a group. So the 365 groups are here. So I can actually just use one of the groups I have. Maybe let me see one of my teams here. Alerts testing. Can use that. So I could use alert testing here. Cool. All right. So click select. Yep. So I've selected alert testing. Can add a role for him in that alert testing, whether I want a member or main role, an owner role. Not this role I'm looking for. So this would be something else. Yeah. So I review. Okay. Guests. This is the person. Click and join in. Yeah. So this is all and invites. Send the link. Successful. Invited successfully. All right. So I can naturally refresh this. And I can still search for Emmanuel here to see when it should be on this list. Emmanuel is not on this list yet. So, but Emmanuel should have received the email. So if I go look for Emmanuel, yep, no, not there, not there. Fresh browser. Okay, I think Emmanuel should have gotten it to reload. Yep. Okay, so this is how it's coming to Emmanuel. Emmanuel is saying the domain that wants to communicate with you. So just click, please accept the invitation. You just send, so click on this, accept. So to accept invitation. Okay. So Emmanuel is here. I could just sign in. Okay, this is it. Hold on a minute. Okay, Emmanuel accepts. And it's loading up for Emmanuel. Okay, no apps given. So at this point, if I go back to this other guy here, should be able to see Emmanuel among my lists. Yeah, Emmanuel should be among my list as a guest. Okay, so since Emmanuel was so I don't should be Emmanuel should be in this point. This is live admin center groups, active groups. Emmanuel should be here. Alert testing. Emmanuel is here. Emmanuel is a guest and he's here. So it's a private group and Emmanuel is in there. So I come to alert testing, manage team. I should see by time Emmanuel should load up here. So Teams actually takes 2 to 24 hours sometimes. If I should close my Teams, but I'm using it right now with you guys. If I should close my Teams and open it back or refresh the browser, refresh it or I do it. Let me see. If I do that, it should actually come up. So this is actually an easy way to just add someone to be part of you as a guest. If it's external is simple, external is straightforward. External, just get the person's email. External has to do with federation, close federation, open federation. Okay. So you know when I add this person, it's supposed to go through. That's external access. Guest access has to do with invitation, which is what we just practicalized. Okay. All right. So let's see if anything is going to come up or we still need to wait a while. And it's still not here yet. So we still need to wait a while. Let me see, since he's already in the group, if I can force him in here. Emmanuel still not in the tenant, so I can add his email address and see. Okay. By design, Emmanuel is supposed to come here by himself, but sometimes we just need to force things to come up by themselves. So Emmanuel is now added as a member, meaning Emmanuel, if he logs in into Teams with this account, you can see this tenant on his side. Okay, right? So that is that, and what else? We're back here. All right, so we just did a quick one there, and so I don't know if you guys have questions. Yeah, not seriously much because guest access and external access are actually straight to the point access, unlike other access we have in 365 and Teams in general. Guest access and external access are actually straightforward access. So I'm actually very time conscious. I'm actually watching the time here. Okay. So guest access, like I said, invitation, external access, just get the person's email and you can chat the person up. Okay, we personalize external access. Guest access, we actually got to do an example here of an external access and give it the person an access. In less than a minute, they have access. So they can collaborate in that group chat. You can add them to a private group. We actually did it to a private group. You can add them to a private group. You can add to a public group, whichever one you choose, and it is fine. So please let me know if you have questions. I'll be more than glad. I came here for troubleshooting, very important. I came here for troubleshooting. I was coming here to expect questions. I love solving problems. So I was expecting to see problems. So I was expecting people who come here with problems they have and we will just get to solve them. All right. So that's all for my end. We hand over to Emmanuel to handle the question part. Okay, someone asked the question. Yeah, I can see. Okay, okay. Do guest user also get an email address? Okay, so by design, guest users, you use their email address they already have. You use the email address they already have. Like when you use the email they have, let me share my screen again. If you use the email they already have, like Emmanuel now that we just added, if you come to this point here and check guest users, Emmanuel will be here. It will be an extension. Most of them will show under guest user, you see Emmanuel as normal. Should be here. Yeah, it's showing when you add it. So Emmanuel should be here. This is Emmanuel. You can add a private email address. You can add a company's email address. You can see I have a company's email address here. I have other company's email address here. But when on your tenants, automatically Microsoft will give it an extension. Okay, so if you see here, Emmanuel is here with an extension of your tenant at the back. So you don't need to give them, if you create a user account for them or you give them an email address, meaning you're creating a user account for them. If you get to create a user account for them, it automatically means they are now users of your tenant. They are no more seen as guests. Okay, so by rights, guests has an extension domain, not an email address. Okay, you can actually give that account a license if you want to, but by right, this is how it is designed. This is their email address. So it's the extension email address. There's no custom email address. This one is by default. This is a default thing. All right. So any other question from any other person?
Okay.
You're welcome, Daniel.
Can I speak?
Yeah, sure. You can speak. You can speak, Jude.
Yeah,
You can
Danny, go
speak.
ahead.
Okay. So I think I have a couple of scenarios, right? One where if somebody is invited to join any group or channel or something, it's automatically added to the tenant, all right, as a guest user.
Mhm.
All right, that is one. Then for external and guest users, right? I saw a limitation where on Teams you can share files, when you on the chat with a guest user, but for an external user, you can't do that. All right. Then another maybe a question: is there a way you could convert an external user to a guest user, or just send the invite to the external user's email so that he accepts and he becomes a guest user?
Okay. Okay. So just give me a second. All right. All right. I'll do this. I'll do this. Let me share screen right now so I can show you something again. All right. Good one, Jude. All right. So the first one you said you see where you can actually just add. So that scenario you are saying only works if the organization doesn't have a close federation. Okay, so if they don't have a close federation, I can easily just come to Teams. Like the way I added Emmanuel is like a long journey. I can easily just come to Teams, carry Emmanuel, go to Teams and just add a random email. Okay, and it will just automatically add the email into the system. Okay. All right, but if they have a close federation, you have to go through that part of going to Azure and just adding up and all. And if I remember your second question carefully is, can you remind me again, the second one you're talking about, the share button, right?
Yes, file sharing. You can
By,
attach. You can see the option to attach a file
mm-hmm,
for external
mm-hmm,
user,
mm-hmm.
or for a
Yeah,
guest
it's
user, you do.
well, okay. Okay, so by design, this thing used to be there as at 2019, 2020. It used to be there 2019, 2020. It was removed in 2020, I think August 2020. Was it August 2020 or I think it was August 2020, a year before they removed Sky for Business. Yeah, Sky for Business was good, was ended 2021 July 31st. So it was a year before Sky for Business was removed. So if you notice this, this is an external user, yeah. If you notice at this bottom side, there is no share button. It's by design. It is not all about whether you're an external user or a guest. For a guest, it's the same thing. So I thought, or you were here when I added Emmanuel as a guest, but I still can't see Emmanuel is even using. Okay, so let me see. You have a tenant here. Let's try something. I like trying out. Jude, you are using Teams right now, right?
I'm using Teams on my phone. Sorry.
All right. Okay. So Emmanuel, can you give me your address, your account address right now? Let me try something out.
Okay, let me get that to you. Just a sec. Okay, in the
Okay.
chat.
Then, all right. Picked. So I still need that chat. All right. So let's come here. So you still see it. Emmanuel is an external person, and it's not there. Okay. So by design, currently by design, you are not allowed to send an external file to, because the reason why it happened, the reason why it happened was because the only way you can actually do this now, the workaround we created, when I say I created, I did not create it myself, but some other guys that are also like me that like playing around with Teams also created, was the best way is to create a group chat. Okay. So if Emmanuel is here now, I can actually just create a group chat with Emmanuel, add another person into this group. Let me say I add this other external user. Let me add this other user here. Just add this user here. Okay. It's also not available
Do
in
you
group.
have
They've
do you,
removed.
that has the guest tagged, where you, if you open a user and you see guest as a guest, do you have any one that you could just try to
And
chat with and see?
anyone that has guests. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Hmm, hmm. Everyone's showing as
Uh,
external right now. I think I have it.
yeah.
I get what you're actually saying, but I'm actually looking for a good scenario to pick someone as a guest. Emmanuel, can I invite you? Let me invite you as a guest. Let me see. Okay.
Okay.
Let me invite you as a guest. All right. Let's go through the procedure. I'm trying not to add him into any group. I just want to go straight to the point. I just want to add him as a guest. All right. So Emmanuel, just kindly accept. When you accept, let me know.
Okay, still waiting for the email to drop.
Okay. Why
Okay.
is waiting?
Invitation accepted.
So
Good, you can go ahead. You can go ahead.
Jude, go ahead.
Okay, okay, sorry. Why I brought up the question or what led to it? A customer had two tenants, right? The same
Mhm,
company but different locations, right? So
mhm.
his users in one are not able to share file to the users, in the other tenant. So he was looking for a way to, is there a way he could, share files, or how can he make those users, communicate, share files in Teams? Okay,
Without
I
creating a team
practically
channel.
told him, yes, just by the user chatting themselves, they can just share file. So I
Yeah, it's
practically
it's
told
a
him,
limitation
it's
right
not
now.
possible.
Yeah, it's a limitation right now. It was actually there. We're enjoying it, but at first, that was when I don't know if you've Emmanuel will understand what I'm trying to say. Right? It was when we had user voice, Microsoft user voice. They used to have this Microsoft user voice then, where you actually suggest the features you want. So people were complaining and saying they don't want any external persons to just get their email address, chat them over Teams, and send them files. Some of them say they are being harassed with files that they don't want that feature to be there. You understand? So if that feature was actually after several votes and all, it was totally removed. It was totally removed. So I'm trying to see if Emmanuel will change at any point.
Okay,
Okay, I don't
but
know.
then I had a recent case, right, where
Mm-hmm,
the same thing the customer wanted, right, but
mm-hmm.
this time we worked around it by adding that user as a guest. So when he became a guest, we were able to share file.
As a
So
guest, you were able to share file.
yeah, we had the option
when
to,
when the icon
um,
started showing guests,
yes, yes.
you're able to share file. So now I'm saying this now. So let me see. Manuals, yeah, definitely, yeah. So it's just yeah, uh-huh. So I would like to confirm that tenant was it? Did they by any chance have any blocked list or open list at all? Did you check that part?
I didn't check.
Because that is actually part of it. You get so why I'm actually asking this thing is because you see this thing you Teams is actually a very dynamic platform where what you try for A might not work for B. So if a user is actually having an issue where they say, okay, I can't log into Teams, you try one for one, you tell the person clear your Teams cache, uninstall your Teams, install it start working. You can try it for the next person and it won't work. And the problem is not about that. The problem is about the license not being provisioned. You understand? So things like that. So it's not you think it's actually not permission actually. It's actually not permission. So let's go there. We have a user to test with. Okay. So let's go to James. Not from here. Let's go to permission. You want to know the permission granted to Emmanuel. Okay, so James. It's not permission level. If it's permission level on sharing of files, it will be from SharePoint point of view and not Teams. Because allow guest in Teams, okay? Okay, let's see guest access. I'm going to guest access on Microsoft Teams admin portal. Okay, where's my guy hiding? Let me see on the Teams. Yeah, guest access, okay? Okay, so guest access is on. Make private turned on. Screen sharing on. Video on. So I don't know who is the unknown user. But I'm saying unknown user. Yeah. Yeah. If it's streamlined to Teams, can company policy prevent a guest user from sharing file? Yes. Yes. Company policy can actually streamline. If it is streamlined to Teams, yes, company policy can do that. So by you're saying my messaging policy on Teams for guest access is this way. It's allowed. Everything is allowed. Everything. But if you notice, there's no place where it says share file. Yeah. So if we even go, let's say we go to messaging policy. Let's see messaging policy. Let's check the messaging policy. Allow guests, allow owners. Okay. Let me see if there's anything related to guests that is turned off here. Users with full permission can delete chats. It's not here. So that's there. It's by design that they've removed that feature. So if if it is on files, should be told all permissions on files have actually been pushed to SharePoint. So, but if it's something that you feel okay, it has been slimlined to Teams, they check everywhere on SharePoint, then it could be company policy. It could be company policy. So that is preventing it at that point. Yeah, you're correct. So any other person, any other questions, please bring out your troubleshooting questions, customers issues. Let's know what's going on. Anyone, everyone?
Okay, maybe I should just throw this in. For screen sharing, I don't know if we could take that. All right. A customer tries to share screen and give me permission to take control, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm able to move and take control, move around, but I'm not able to perform any action. All right. I could, take the mouse, move around the mouse with the control, but clicking to, open a page or do any other thing doesn't work. But then it's a Mac PC. So I don't know if that's
Okay, so
funny or yeah.
I was about telling you that Mac by design. So if you've used, have you tried using Quick Assist on Mac?
The web,
Yes,
the
the
web
web. Have you
for
tried using the web? Yeah, that's the one that works on a Mac. Have you tried using the Quick Assist Mac?
yes,
Okay, you notice the
yes,
whole process of granting access and all from their settings thing. The same thing is with Teams. So they have this sharing thing that has to do with what they call it. There's a word they call it on Mac that has to do with the command, something like that, that you have to go and accept and allow before they allow you click. So the person might have actually allowed you to control the mouse, but the person did not give you access to click or make any action. Okay.
okay,
So since it's a Mac, because by design, if you actually take control, on a Windows system like this, if I give you control, then by design, you should be able to do anything you want to do. Windows don't have that restrictions and plenty things, but Mac, I was about asking you what kind of system it was before you mentioned it was a Mac. Okay, so it's definitely a system policy. So they should actually just allow on their settings and allow, or if they want to try, they should. I always try to give people benefit of doubt when I'm working with a customer that is trying to not understand me. So you tell them, okay, try this on a Windows, use your account, sign into a Windows system and try this thing again. If they try it and it works, most of them out of shame, they won't call you back. Some of them won't even reply your email again. They'll just go unresponsive. So it's something like that sometimes. So it could be that majorly because by Teams rights, once you allow somebody to take control of their screen, meaning they can actually click, except your system is rolling, is actually working on a very lower RAM, which means it's slow to respond or it's internet access, one of the two. So if it's not internet access, if it's not the system processor, then it is actually the system settings, which is Mac is known for access issues. Okay, so Telema, you're saying I should please throw more lights. Is it okay? So you're saying on different Microsoft group, e.g. Microsoft is email enabled, and okay. All right, let's go there. All right, so let's go to the admin center again. All right, so we have those number of groups you mentioned. They are actually very simple to use. Yeah, the distribution group is actually used. They call it distribution and email enabled group. It's actually used when you don't want to is actually used when you don't want to actually create a what is it called? There's an email address, a shared mailbox. When you don't want to create a shared mailbox, you actually just use the distribution. You can use the distribution list for that. Security group is actually used mostly for enforcing custom scripts. Security groups are mostly used for custom scripts. So if you have a scenario like a tenant, like a school, I can remember one time I ran one for a school where they don't want users, they don't want their students to be able to create a team or a channel or anything. They just want only faculties. So all we just needed to do was create a security group. Just needed to create a security group, call it admin or whatever we can call it. And after creating it, we just added all the users that should be permitted into it, added them as members. You don't need to add them as owners. You don't need any owner in a security group. So add them as owners, then run the code using the name we've given to the security group and run it. So automatically, everybody in the tenant is not allowed. The way the script run is everybody in the tenant is not allowed to create a team except people in this group. So if you want to exempt anybody from that policy, you have to add them to that group. Add them to that group, then you run the policy again. It goes. Okay. So there's email enabled security group and there's normal security group. So it used to be called email enabled group. So now it's now called email enabled security group, meaning email enabled group is actually almost like a shared mailbox, but this one is a group. You don't access, it's just like I want to share bulk SMS, kinda. I want to share bulk SMS. So I can create like in a company where they have HR, they have IT, they have procurement, they have those kind of groups like that. So instead of me um, trying to send email to everybody and all, you create this email enable security group. If you create it, even when you are sending an email, you can actually search for this. You can search for it, it will come out. They always have an email address. So if you notice some companies, they always have a list of people under a list. Let me say an IT company, they have IT at mtn.com. And under IT at mtn.com, you don't know. They have like 4 different users. They have like Jude, they have Emmanuel, they have Telema, they have another Emmanuel. 4 persons under that list. Okay. The 4 persons under that list are the members of that security enabled group. If I want to send an email, I don't have those persons' email. I send it to the IT at mtn.com. So I'm complaining, IT at mtn.com. Hello team, please, I need help in this. So all of them, the 4 of them or the 5 of them, whatever number of persons are inside that group, we get the email. Now it's not left for them to, one person should choose to reply you. Or everybody should choose, one person just has to reply you that. So it's left for them to do that. So that is this. That's basically this. Distribution list is actually used mostly for points. I use distribution list most times is for use them for room. Use them to use for a room, like you add people to a room, like booking group. You can add it to like I use this one for a testing actually. I did a test on this where I added members to this and I used it for a room conference call to test a conference landline. And also you can also use the distribution list for email. The same thing the security group does. The distribution list does that too. But this one, Teams and Microsoft 365, they are together. It's recently they joined this together, truth be told. They don't used to be together. It used to be 4. It used to be 4 year. To be you see Teams, Microsoft 365, this and this. Okay. And this one used to be on his own. So this enabled, this email enabled needs to be on his own, but modifications came and they've actually modified so many things. So 365 by design, a Microsoft 365 group is a Microsoft 365 group. But you can actually create a team. There's no team that doesn't have a Microsoft 365 group, but there's a Microsoft 365 group that doesn't have a team. So this is a Microsoft 365 group. This is a Microsoft 365 group. This is a Microsoft 365 group. But this one, the Boxy one, doesn't have a team channel. This one has a team channel. This one has a team channel. So you can create a team channel from here. This one. All you just need to do, think it was actually done already. Boxy is here. Membership settings. Private. File sharing is none. Okay. Just in anyone. None. Okay. All right. So let me see this. Maybe this could actually help what Jude was saying. This could actually help what Jude was saying. Let me see. All right. So let's come to this alert here. Membership. Was it inside there? We saw it. Settings. Allow. Okay. It's already open. So there is no. So you can actually see it here, Jude. It was already opened. So even with the fact that it's opened, could not do anything there. Yeah, there. So for you can actually create a team. Since Boxy doesn't have a team, and let me see if I'm a member of this Boxy members. No member. Let me see if I can add myself. If it will allow me because it did. Oh, fine. Sometimes it doesn't. All right, so fresh. So if I come to my teams, I can create a team. Create a team from scratch or from a group. From a group, the only group you can use to create a team is for Microsoft 365. Okay, so if I click, all these groups are the groups I belong to. So if I don't belong to them, I cannot use them. Okay, so I click on this one and I click on create. The boxy one that I just did, click on it and it creates. So this is it. It creates down there. So if I come back here and I just refresh, I take a while to show the Teams icon. You should show the Teams icon here. That one should be showing here. So right now it's showing it's not connected. I think with time to pick up. So I don't know. Telema, was I able to answer your question, like bring more light to what you wanted me to bring more light to? You're welcome. You're welcome. Okay, so Augustine dropped a link for the Mac access thing for Jude. So Jude, you can go through the Mac access for Augustine dropped something for you. So that's it. So please, if you have more questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm available right now. All right. All right. If no other question, then I will hand over to Emmanuel right now. Thank you.
Awesome, awesome. Thank you very much, Emmanuel. So it was a wonderful session so far. Guys, if you have questions, Emmanuel is here to answer any questions you might have, troubleshooting issues with Teams. You're free to ask questions before we call it a day for today's session. All right. In the absence of no other questions, we'll call it a day for today. And what's gonna happen is that next week, Emmanuel is gonna come in again. We're going to continue with team devices, messaging, and all that. So we're expecting everyone to join next week for us to have an amazing session. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining today's session. Thank you, Emmanuel, for for your time. We know it's very busy, but you still made up the time to be here today. Thank you so much.
Thank you too. Thank you very much for having me. I hope to actually be here better and more prepared next time. So, but thank you very much.